Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to another Words of Wisdom Wednesday, where we take another look at leadership insights from the Bible. Now, whether you're a person of faith or not, the recorded history that is documented in the 66 books of the Bible, spanning over 6,000 years of human history, give us a look into good leadership, great leadership, poor leadership, and bad leadership, and the lessons we can learn from each that are applicable to what is going on in our lives right now. Now, if you've just joined us, we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 17. We're taking a look at the life of Moses, this historical leader of the nation of Israel. Now, Moses has just led the children of Israel out of Egypt and out of bondage. He's led them to the Red Sea, where God miraculously parted the Red Sea and they walked across on dry land. This, according to the story of Exodus, they now find themselves traveling through the desert. And in Exodus chapter 17, we see them confronted by another people group, the Amalekites. Let's jump in and get started. The Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. Now, this was a common practice that one warring nation would come against another that maybe was infringing on their rights or crossing their property, and they were looking to territorially protect their land. Leadership insight we can pick up from this first passage of scripture is what? There will always be opposition to your leadership. No matter what type of leading that you are doing, not everyone is going to fall in line and not everyone is going to agree with what you are doing. There will always be factions that stand in opposition to what you are doing as a leader. So understand that those factions, those people that don't agree with what you're doing, or they see another way of doing it, or maybe they want to simply just preserve the status quo, they're going to do everything they can in their ability to attempt to halt your progress. They're going to look to sabotage. They're going to look to create a distrust. They're going to utilize a campaign of disinformation or misinformation to try to keep things as they are. Now, you as a leader understand this. Sometimes as a leader, because you go before and you see more, you see opposition that may be coming. And as a leader, you may be able to pivot and avoid that conflict or at times mitigate it through skillful negotiation. But at times, just as we see Moses and the children of Israel having to do in Exodus 17, sometimes you have to confront opposition head on. Now let's continue on in Exodus 17, verse 9 says this. So Moses says to Joshua, choose some of our men and go out and fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands. So what do we learn from this second passage that we're examining today in Exodus 17? Not only will there be opposition to your leadership, but good leaders will delegate, especially when others are more gifted in a specific area than they are. Now, as we've looked at and we've studied and we've historically examined this book of Exodus, we see that Joshua was a very skilled warrior. He was brought alongside of Moses as a leader in training because of his military expertise and his ability to lead people well. So when it came to fighting a battle, Moses was not a military leader. Moses was a visionary leader. So Moses deferred to Joshua's leadership because he was best gifted in that area and was going to be able to select the best people to accomplish the task at hand. And that was going to war to defeat the enemy. Now, that brings us to a second point in this second leadership lesson we can learn today, and that's this. Good leaders understand the people on their team. They take the time to get to know who they are, but also to identify the 20% of their greatest giftedness. Good leaders know the capabilities of everyone else on the team, and they're going to allow their key leaders who can lead in other areas of giftedness that leader lacks is going to allow them to step in and to lead on their own. Good leaders know the capability of others, and they're going to allow them to lead in that area of giftedness. Now let's continue on, verse 10 and 11. So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the mountain. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. So what do we take from this particular passage as we're delving into leadership lessons in Exodus 17? Not only will there be opposition to leadership, not only do good leaders delegate, especially when others are more gifted, good leaders are always visible. Good leaders don't run and hide in the midst of conflict. They are out front so they can be seen and show that they are supportive of the effort at hand. Now, in this passage, we see that Moses was allowing the military leader Joshua to lead the attack. But Moses himself got to a tall vantage point on the top of a mountain to remain visible, to inspire those who were fighting, and to show his support. He was also holding up the staff that represented the leadership of God and inspiring the people to fight for their chosen God. Now, you and I can take a lesson from this as well, because in times of conflict, a good leader is going to get out in front. They're going to be seen, they're going to be visible, and they are going to do what is required to rally their troops. They're going to pull the people together and say, we're facing opposition, we're facing conflict, we're facing a challenge in the moment, but here's how we're going to take this head on, and we're going to break through this barrier, we're going to get around this obstacle, or we're going to conquer the challenge that we're facing. Now, let's wrap up today's teaching with one last passage from Exodus chapter 17. When Moses' hands grew tired, they, talking about Aaron and Hur, took a stone and put it under him, and Moses sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady until sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. So let's take a look at one last leadership lesson, but wrap up what we've learned today. Remember, there's going to be factions that oppose you as a leader. They're going to attempt to halt your progress. Sometimes you can avoid it, but other times you've got to confront it head on. Good leaders know the capabilities of the people on their team, and they're going to delegate and allow those people who are gifted in leadership areas that you as a leader are not, you're going to allow them to step into the primary leadership role and to lead with your oversight. Good leaders are always visible, even in the midst of conflict. And what's the last thing we learned from this passage today? Even strong leaders get tired in the fight, and sometimes they need a helping hand. So what do we see? Moses' companions kept him visible. He stood for as long as he could, and when his legs began to tire, they got a rock for him to sit on, again at the top of the hill so he could remain visible. They helped him hold up his staff so that symbol of the presence of God could continue to inspire and motivate and encourage the Israelite army as they were battling the Amalekites. Now, the lesson you and I can take from that is this: good leaders surround themselves with other good leaders who are aligned with morals and values, share the focus and vision of the primary leader, and together those good leaders are going to help lead the team, the organization, or the group to victory. Remember, one of us is never as good as all of us together, and a good leader doesn't try to lead by himself or herself. They find, develop, and employ the talents of other quality leaders. Because when a team of leaders are leading, singular in focus, singular in vision, singular in commitment with shared values and morals and character, incredible things can be done. In this example, we see that Joshua, because of the inspiration that was there and his ability to lead as a military leader, got a victory for the Israelites in this battle. But for you and I, whatever the challenge is that we're facing in opposition, having a team of supportive leaders can help us get to the other side and wave our hand in victory once we get there. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed today's leadership insight from the Bible. And if you enjoy leadership insights, whether faith-based or not, let me encourage you to follow me on my video channels, YouTube and Rumble. Each week, these lessons appear there. You'll also find them as a podcast on Spotify and other major podcast channels. Under YouTube and Rumble, the channel is Be a Black Belt Leader, and on Spotify, it's Black Belt Leadership. Now, if you are a person of faith and you enjoy faith-based lessons, I've developed an additional 10 lessons that's available as an email series free of charge. You can go to my website, Be a Black Belt Leader, go to the courses area, and you'll find leadership lessons from the Bible. Simply sign up, and each week you'll get an email message delivered, and you'll get 10 leadership lessons looking at characters from the Bible and the lessons we learn from them. And while you're at my website, beablackbeltleader.com, be sure and check out the other free and paid content, as well as having the opportunity to access my #1 best-selling book, Black Belt Leadership #1. There are 7 books currently available on the website in the store. #8 will be coming out sometime in March 2024, but this book, Black Belt Leadership 101, has really been the hallmark of what we teach here at Black Belt Leadership. You can pick that up through the Black Belt Leadership store or directly at Amazon.com. There's also a masterclass where I take a deeper dive into each of these 10 leadership character qualities that you should embrace to become a Black Belt leader in life. You can access the masterclass there as well. While you're at my website, be sure and visit all my social media channels and make sure you follow me there. We're Monday through Friday each week. I'm sharing tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do. And while you're there, you can also sign up for my free weekly newsletter on Substack. Let me leave you with this. Don't just be a leader, be a Black Belt leader and live your life with Black Belt excellence. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt leader. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.